Welcome back for this week's Coach's Chalk Talk session here on the Fever, and we're lucky enough this week to be joined by Cooper head coach John Wyndham. Coach, appreciate you coming in and joining us.
Thank you, George.
The Pirates just came off a big win, their first win of the season in a kind of upset fashion over Brownfield. Coach, talk about finally kind of being able to bust that slump and finally get into the win column this week.
Well, it was a great feeling. We've had a rough start to the season, a rough start to the year, so it was good to get that first win under our belt. And our kids really responded after the second quarter, and we got things going, and it was a fun night, and we need to keep it going this Friday.
Talk about, it's been a difficult year, I'm sure, with everything that's gone on with the school. Was there maybe just kind of finally a sense of relief to get one out of the way and get one in the win column finally?
Exactly. With everything that's gone on and with the tragedy we had earlier in the year, it was nice to get a win. So the kids are finally have something to celebrate, and they're jumping around, and you would have thought we'd run the district championship, but it was good to get that first one. The kids were excited, and it's fun as a coach to see the guys get excited like that.
A little marked, I would think, increase in intensity, and kind of bouncing around this week in practice as well.
Yeah, it's been a lot of bounce in their step. They're looking forward to this Friday night against Snyder and get us on into district the following week. So we played a tough non-district schedule, and the guys know it, and I think it's going to prepare us very well for Dalhart the following week.
How do you approach this week? I mean, because this would have normally been your bye week, but like we said, with the tragedy with Kelsey Vines' death, you guys postponed that and pushed everything to this bye week. Has it been any kind of different approach going into this week?
Well, without having an open toward in front of district, you can say it could be a hurtful, maybe a factor like that, but the way we're looking at it, we have a lot of sophomores that we're playing on the varsity right now, and they need a lot of game time experience, and so the extra game right before district is definitely, we think, is going to help us. We would like to have a week off we've got a couple of kids banged up, but we're going to kind of go easy on them in practice this week, see if they can get healthy. But you can look at it the other way. If you take a week off before district, sometimes you come out flat that first half of the district ball game. So hopefully that won't happen, and hopefully we'll have some game speed and be ready to go against Dalhart.
Has it been injuries, inexperience that have kind of held y'all back this year, or is it just not executing, or what?
Right now it's youth and not executing. It's experience from some of our sophomores. They're in key positions right now, but they're getting better every week. We were rained out of a scrimmage earlier in the year, so we only had one scrimmage going into the season. The first game against Bushland, it was delayed for about 2 hours, so we had a rough start of getting into a rhythm. But first couple of games we had turned the ball over 8 times the first game, then 5 times the next, and then finally we started hanging on to the ball. So it's a situation where we need some experience, and it's going to help us the more these kids play and the more experience they get. It's definitely going to help us. But I think we're improving a little bit every game, and we finally got that first win, so that's going to help.
Well, the Pirates have the Tigers this week coming into Pirate Stadium, and this is always a big game, always a pretty intense game. Mm-hmm. You've got your offense against their defense here, Coach. Talk about what you're looking at, for your offense to be successful against what they're doing defensively.
Well, we've played Snyder for a while now, and it's been tight ball games for the most part. Snyder is probably the most physical team that we'll face all year. The thing about Coach Rogers' defense over there, he puts the fastest, quickest guys he can get. None of these defensive players, they're all backs. They have back numbers, receiver numbers. Their nose guard is number 40, and their defensive end is 24. But what he likes to do is he'll line up in this 3-3 stack, but he'll send 6 guys at you at a time. You don't know where they're coming from. So the thing about him, their size, you would think it would be a stronger factor for us being bigger up front than their defensive line, but they use their quickness because you never know where these backers or ends are coming from. They'll put 2 guys in the same gap, or they'll walk this end out and they'll shoot him off the edge, and then they bring these guys also. So they're always coming from different directions. They never play this base defense. It's always stunts out of this defense right here. So you don't know where they're coming from. So what we've got to do up front is we're going to have to, utilize zone blocking where we're blocking areas and not man blocking. So because you don't know where that man's going to go. So we're also going to try to attack the outside edges, because as many people they bring in the inside in the middle, I think our strength is going to be out here if we can block the edges. We're going to run some motion game against them and see what's going to happen with their backers, if they're going to chase us or not. But I don't think you can be very successful against Snyder in between the tackles, because they'll send 6 guys in between the tackles. So I think we're going to have to hurt them outside.
Is this a deal where you feel like you can hit them more with a pass on the outside, or is this something where you've got to be balanced or run to stop them, to slow them down? Or
right, we're going to do both. We are going to run some jet sweep and a lot of option like we did last week, but we're also going to attack the outside edges. You can't do a deep vertical game very well against them because of the pressure they're going to put on you. You're not going to have a lot of time. So we'll sprint out some. We'll work option game on the edge. We'll work sweep game, but we're also going to work the edges on the flats and use that to our advantage because they will send these backers a lot and give up a flat coverage. So we're going to do that also.
Well, I've seen Snyder play. I saw him play against Estacado, and Coach is right. They're very fast and very physical. But I think with the success that Cooper Pirates came off of this last week, I think they're going to have some pretty good success this week. Coach, we appreciate you coming in and joining us.
Thank you, George.
When we come back, we'll run down this next week's games, and I'll give you my picks right here on the field.